John Russ was immersed into the military lifestyle since he was born. He grew up and worked in the lifestyle for 30 years. He has had so many amazing opportunities and experiences. He got to travel the world and learn about so many different cultures while bravely fighting for his country. Even though his service was long and hard, he would not trade his experiences for anything. John Russ was born on June 30th, 1964 in Fort Lewis, Washington, to Sam and Mary Jean Russ. He is the oldest of 4 siblings, all of which are boys. Russ and his 3 brothers, Sam, Eric, and Adam, all did some form of service for the United States government, whether by joining the military or joining the Peace Corps. Russ's dad was in the Army, so Russ spent most of his childhood as an Army brat. He spent a lot of his childhood moving to different states and countries.
I went to 9th and 10th grade at a Department of Defense high school in Izmir, Turkey. And then after that, we moved back to Virginia. I graduated from Oakton High School, which is in Vienna, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C.
Russ joined the military through the Reserve Officer Training Corps program, ROTC program, in college. He decided to join the military because his father was part of the military and he really liked the lifestyle growing up. He entered into the Navy because when he applied for the ROTC program, they said that they would pay for his college tuition.
And when I applied for the ROTC scholarship and the Navy told me that they would pay for all 4 years of my college education, I said, sure, I'll join the Navy.
After graduating college in the ROTC program, Russ was commissioned into the Navy. He had to go through 15 months of training before he was ready to work on his first submarine, 12 months of naval nuclear power training, and a 3-month course on the rest of the submarine.
You have to go through about a 6-month classroom kind of course to learn all about the theory and operation of those nuclear power plants. And then you go to a 6-month course where you actually are operating a land-based, a shore-based nuclear reactor, Navy nuclear reactor. And after that, you go to about a 3-month course to learn all about the rest of the submarine, all of its combat systems. So it's sonar and torpedoes and periscopes and how it drives through the water.
Russ had to wait 5 months before he was able to start nuclear power school, and during those 5 months, he went over to serve in Naples, Italy for Submarine Group 8. His dad was still in the Army at the time and also serving in Naples, so Russ asked to be assigned there for his first job in the Navy.
My first assignment was over in Naples, Italy. My dad happened to be assigned over in Naples there. He was still in the Army. So I asked to go there.
Once Russ finished his 15 months of training, he reported for his first submarine where he had a list of tasks he needed to learn and become qualified in. He had to qualify as an engineering officer of the watch.
So for example, for me, you have to qualify in the submarine force, your first typical thing that you qualify to do is what's called engineering officer of the watch. And that's the guy who's in charge of the entire nuclear propulsion plant while the ship is operating either in port or at sea.
He also had to qualify as officer of the deck.
So as officer of the deck, you're the officer in charge of the entire submarine while it's operating at sea. So you are essentially the captain's representative and directing the operations of the submarine as it's doing its mission at sea.
After the ROTC program, 15 months of training and getting his qualifications on a submarine, Russ was assigned to the USS Miami, a Los Angeles-class nuclear attack submarine, as a qualified Navy officer. At the time, the USS Miami was being built in a shipyard, and Russ was part of the crew that went to do the final test on the submarine to make sure everything was working properly.
The crew goes through all the testing associated with the nuclear propulsion plant, and then they go through all the testing associated with the submarine and taking it to sea for the first time.
They made sure the submarine could function fully in the water, and they tested a lot of systems on board to make sure they were working properly.
You go out and you do trials for the submarine. So you take it out and basically operate it as aggressively as you can to shake it out and test its limits. Kind of like taking a car for a test drive where you want to accelerate as fast as you can and put on the brakes hard and So you do a lot of high-speed maneuvers, diving, surfacing, and then for the remainder of that time, that's on that submarine. I qualified in submarines, and we did a lot of the full systems testing to ensure that submarine was good for delivery to the Navy.
After testing the submarine and its systems, Russ and the rest of the crew brought the USS Miami into commission.
And then we brought it into commission. So there's a big ceremony when you have a brand new Navy ship that actually formally makes it part of the Navy fleet.
Russ spent some time on the USS Miami after it was commissioned before serving on another submarine. The next submarine Russ went to serve on was the USS Pennsylvania, a ballistic missile submarine. He served on this submarine during the Cold War. The USS Pennsylvania was tasked with going out and hiding in the middle of the ocean and waiting for the order to go and attack.
That submarine, we're tasked with the missiles that we have on board with essentially going out in the ocean and hiding. And when we go out and do that mission, no one knows where we are except for the people on board the submarine.
Russ said that he and the crew never wanted to receive the order to attack but had to be ready just in case.
We never wanted to receive the order, but we were there if we had to be called.
After his time on USS Pennsylvania, Russ went to serve on USS Kamehameha. There, he worked with the Navy SEALs and other countries' Navy SEALs and Special Forces. The USS Kamehameha was in charge of transporting the SEALs to and from their different missions.
So our submarine could deliver SEALs. So we would be submerged beneath the water, and we had a big garage on the back of our submarine, and I think I have a little picture of it, where all the SEALs would get in the garage, and they would flood that down, and they would go out, and so they could do very clandestine, covert missions from the submarine. In that mission, we did, or in that submarine, we did a number of missions where we got to work with other countries' navies and special forces. So we would go and operate with, say, the South Korean Navy, and their special forces teams would come aboard, and we would let them, go do operations with our SEALs.
Russ had many interesting and exciting experiences in the Navy, one of which included meeting the King of Jordan. The USS Kamehameha was the first nuclear submarine to dock in the country of Jordan, and Russ was on the ship when it happened. He got to meet the King of Jordan and have him aboard Kamehameha.
During that time, part of our mission in submarines in the Navy is just to expand our relationships and improve our relationships with our allies and partners and friends. And at the time, one of our important allies was the country of Jordan. And Kamehameha was actually the first U.S. nuclear submarine ever to pull into the country of Jordan. During that visit to Jordan, we got to host the King of Jordan.
Then Russ went to serve on USS Honolulu, a nuclear-powered fast-attack submarine, as captain. When Russ was first in command of the USS Honolulu, he and his crew brought the submarine into the shipyard for maintenance. After 10 months of maintenance and 6 months of preparing for Honolulu's final deployment, the crew went off to do an intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission in the Western Pacific. That was the last deployment of the USS Honolulu. Russ and his crew were the last to serve on the submarine before it was decommissioned in 2007. The last submarine that Russ served on before retiring was the Submarine Squadron 15, where he was in command of the entire squadron.
In that job, you're the commander of a squadron, so you have a staff that's supporting you, but the people that actually do the work for you are, in my case, the 4 different submarines that were assigned to me.
Russ finally retired as captain in April of 2016 after being in the Navy for 30 years. He took a terminal leave when he retired, so he left the naval base he was stationed at in April of 2016, but his last official day was on June 30th. Russ never had a home growing up since his dad was in the Army. His family was constantly moving, so Russ and his wife Mary decided to drive across country, visiting national monuments and family and friends. They ended up in Burke, Virginia at Russ's mom's house before they moved to where they currently live in Mystic, Connecticut. Russ found a job and was able to settle down with Mary and get visits from their sons Brian, Jason, Ethan, and Aaron. Russ thoroughly enjoyed his time in the Navy. He learned many valuable life lessons and made some great friendships. One life lesson he learned was about trusting your team.
I guess too, you get you typically get a lot better results you um, when you trust the people that you're working with. Um, when you can truly enable the work that they do instead of trying to micromanage it. Um, so that's a big piece.
He also made some long lasting friendships.
I guess my longest standing friendship was with a guy who has been my mentor throughout my Navy career. If I needed some advice or needed some help in solving a problem or needed somebody to talk to about my next career step or just about some problem I was trying to wrestle with, he was always there available, and he's still a very close friend.
Another part of Russ's military experience that he greatly appreciates is the opportunities he had to experience different cultures. He lived in Hawaii for many years and he got to see so many different countries during port stops and growing up as an Army brat.
I've had the chance to uh, meet people within the Navy from all different sorts of backgrounds and specialties and skills and levels of expertise. And so it's been, really rewarding getting to interact with people in the Navy. Um, and then it's also been, although it started during my time, being an Army brat, getting to see new cultures and learn about different people and countries. I got to continue that in the Navy. So, um, expanding that and getting a broader worldview, I guess, is probably the way that it changed me most.
Captain John Russ had so many once in a lifetime experiences while serving in the Navy. He grew up in the military lifestyle and loved it so much that he decided to serve in the military. From an Army brat to the ROTC program to 30 years in the Navy, Russ has been involved with the military lifestyle. He fought to keep his country safe and got some wonderful experiences and life lessons along the way. John Russ's experience is a great example of why people should join the military. We thank you for your years of dedication and service to our country.